Meet Ahmad Kanani. He's an analytics expert and the founder of the Siavak agency. Ahmad picked up our Build Your Agency Data Pipeline course a couple years back and has been building data pipelines in BigQuery for companies ever since. Building data pipelines is hard work, so I was curious what companies Ahmad has found really need this type of stuff.
The online businesses that are spending heavily on ads, most of them, and they are spending on multiple platforms. And so it becomes really critical for them to see the dynamic between different platforms and the customer journey, and to be able to have a high level view. Because if you're just doing Google ads or Facebook ads, you already know that most of the transactions are 90% are going to be attributed to that platform. But as soon as you're going to start evaluating and testing other platforms, and you're starting you start to uh, think about how each of these pieces of the puzzle are coming together. Okay, where should I put more resources? Where should I focus? And then those questions, uh, they need to be answered with data.
Mm-hmm.
And it is hard to do it manually. I mean, going to each platform and try to manually compare the numbers together, it's really tedious.
Like most of us, Ahmad started doing these types of marketing data analyses, right, in spreadsheets. And eventually, you just reach a point where you want to move into databases.
The volume of data was actually the trigger for me to look for another options. At that time, I didn't use BigQuery that much. So I actually remember I searched for Google Sheets to BigQuery because I knew it was a data warehouse that was provided by Google, was cost efficient, and then it was easy to connect it to Data Studio, which we were already using. So I was looking for minimum change in the stack to just be able to raise this limit of 5 million cells that I could work with. And I found BigQuery, and I found your YouTube video on how to. You had a video lab about like 30 minutes. You described how does it work, the agency data pipeline, and the app script that you had to push data on a daily basis to BigQuery. And I got the course because it actually worth it. I mean, I wanted to do that, and it actually worked well in that case. And it opened much more capability and many other opportunities for us to do something exciting with data and do better analysis, not just raise the volume limits. And I'm happy that I did that. It was a good um, turning point in my past. That when I look back at it.
One of Ahmad's favorite uses for a data pipeline like this is doing cross-channel paid acquisition reporting. So you can pull together a bunch of different ad platform sources and compare them together. Let's take a look at an example.
In this case, we were tasked to kind of compare what they were doing on Microsoft advertising versus Google Ads, and per type of the campaigns that they were running. Okay, so these are not just single campaigns. This is kind of a campaign grouping. The
Okay.
way they were advertising, the way they were promoting, their strategy of promotion. So they wanted to see, okay, this strategy, what is the cost per acquisition for the conversions that they get from this strategy compared to the rest of them, and what is the distribution here, and what is it? So this is actually a comparison. The lighter shade represents previous period. So is the cost per acquisition is going up or down based on the activities that they are doing?
So I was curious, what types of companies would Ahmad recommend build out a data pipeline and why?
The power comes from being able to look at multiple different sources of data in a single place. If you're just using Google Ads, maybe the reporting interface of Google Ads and your Google Analytics gives you enough to just figure out what is happening. But as soon as you introduce 2 or 3 more channels of traffic into this mix, it becomes much more complicated to get even the simplest stuff out of these tools. What was my CPA?
Mm-hmm.
Is it coming down?
Thanks again to Ahmad Kanani for joining us to share his data pipeline story.